welcome back. I'm Rachel, and this is the Rach the Wretched One podcast. If you want to know why I'm called Rach the Wretched One, you're going to have to go back to issue number 1, which explains it all in detail. So there you go. Anyway, this week, a lot's been going on. One of the main things I've been doing is focusing on upping my fitness. Now, I talk about fitness a lot. That's because it's something that is a passion of mine. I've done it ever since I was a teenager, from sports at school right through to my teens, my 20s, 30s and now. So it will always stick with me. But what I've started to do is incorporate HIIT training back in to my pole regime. So as you know, I do pole fitness. It requires a hell of a lot of upper body strength. And I noticed that I've been losing that since I took a break around October time and then didn't start until this year. I was noticing that my upper body strength wasn't as good, and it was really frustrating me because when your brain knows you can do something but your body just physically can't do it, it is so annoying. So I thought, right, what I'm going to do is start incorporating more strength to get that fitness up really quick. So I've been doing HIIT in the form of Insanity. So me and my husband, we've been doing Insanity for years. Like, since the first DVD came out, we went out and bought that. And then we did the Max ones and all of them. So we literally follow it through. We are fans of Shaun T. We love the fact that you can get really good results. Sounds like an infomercial now, doesn't it? Really good results, you know, over a fairly short period of time if you stick to it. And results aren't just physical in terms of how you look. It's literally how you feel and what your body can do. So yeah, I've started to put that back in. So I've been getting up at 5:30, yes, with my husband, dragging myself out of bed and doing it for 30 minutes. But I've already seen an amazing difference. So I went to pole today and I was so much stronger. Now, I know my body makeup has a lot to do with it. So I'm what's classed as a mesomorph, which is there's 3 different types of body type, and the mesomorph type is naturally quite muscular, and your body responds, your muscle cells respond very quickly. So for me, if I go and work out in a gym, I will see results really quickly. My brother's the same, you know, I've got cousins, they're the same as well. So, you know, it doesn't take us long to gain really good muscle tone and also to get that strength back. So yeah, I was well proud of myself. I was killing it. I even came back home and started doing more exercise. So yes, keep doing that HIIT. It's nearly breaking my back sometimes, but the results just keep me going. So this week was really exciting at work. We had our 25-year anniversary since the company was founded. And, you know, it's been going from strength to strength. I think we've had the largest or the most successful quarter in the history of the business in 25 years. So it was really apt. And what the company wanted to do was put on a big party, which was great because I'm a newbie. You know, I've only been there since January. So it's really good that, you know, I get to be a part of it. And the theme was Studio 54, so like 70s disco style. So, you know, as the kind of conversations going in work, it's like, what are you going to wear? What are you going to do? You know, what are you going to put on? That kind of thing. And one of the things I did notice, which was really interesting, is some of the women that I was sitting around were talking and saying, oh, you know, everybody's going to be young and they're all young and I'm probably going to feel like I'm really old compared to all these girls all dressed up. And it's never occurred to me. Like, I was just excited about the fact I'm going to have a really good time and drink lots of alcohol and bust some really good dance moves and just have fun to some good 70s tunes. I already had my pink afro wig, you know, picked out. And then I was going to try and find myself like a 70s-esque kind of outfit. I think in the end I just got a jumpsuit and wore that, which a lot of people did. But that's not my thing. I wasn't there thinking, what is... You know, I'm of a certain age and everyone else is going to look younger. All the women are going to look younger than me. You know, as if it's something that's going to stop you from attending anywhere. And then the conversation developed into going out to clubs and going out, you know, to, you know, bars and things. And they were like, oh no, I don't go out because I feel like I'm the oldest person there. I don't give a toss if I'm one of the oldest people there. I've paid my money, I've come to have a drink and I've come to have a dance. When the lights go down in the club, nobody is checking whose age is what. basically the only people that should be checking really are the management to make sure that nobody's underage. But everyone else should just be having a good time. It shouldn't be this worry that you look like the young, the oldest person there. And what does that say about you, really? What were you like when you were young? Were you looking down on people that looked older than you in the club? Is that what it is? And now the tables have turned, you're starting to feel it. I didn't. It was fine with me. I don't, doesn't cross my mind, never did. And all in all, it was a really good night. And, everybody dressed up. Funnily enough, some of the younger girls didn't enter into the theme. It was like, I want to just look pretty. Rather than just like getting into the spirit of it and, wearing fancy dress or wearing just looking a little bit silly because, it's meant to be an homage to, the heady days of Studio 54. It was more like I still need to look pretty. I still need to look nice. I don't really want to risk it. I don't want to take any risks by not, looking as pretty as I can. Which, funny for me, it's never been a thing. I think it's because as a kid, I've never saw myself as pretty. Not a bad thing, not like a woe is me thing. My stick was, I was smart. I could read, I was quite intelligent, I did well at school, I got good grades. So that was my kind of stick. It was never, I was the pretty one. So I didn't have to lean back or I didn't rely on my looks to get by. It was my personality and my wit that I used. And then as I got older and I blossomed, yes, your looks come in, but I had already built up a really good foundation of, being somebody that you could hold a conversation with and who wasn't too concerned with the way that they looked as such. Also, I think building into that, I went to an all-girls school from the age of 12 to 15 until I went to sixth form college. And one thing I would say about all-girls schools, yes, in terms of the dynamics, it can get a bit bitchy, when young girls don't know how to express themselves with each other, so they'd rather be catty towards each other. But the good side of it is there wasn't that distraction of who is the prettiest against boys or trying to win male attention. You were who you are. So you could be an absolute scruff bag at school and be, crazy and goofy and funny and still have a great school life because there wasn't that distraction there and there wasn't that pressure to be pretty. So I think that's been a good thing. My parents sending me to an all-girls school put me in good stead for that. And down the line now, it still applies. I don't rely on my looks physically to get me by. Yes, you want to take care of yourself. And as I say, fitness is very important to me. But I'm not about, wearing a full face of makeup to the gym or making sure that when I'm on the beach, I've got, everything on, the eyelashes and all of that. I am what I am. It is what it is. So the party went really well. It was well underway. They pulled out all the stops. There was like a cocktail bar. There was a regular bar. There was there were two fun ice sculptures, like one of a man and one of a woman, like basically their torsos. And then you can imagine, then you pour the neat drink in at the top and then out of the bottom would come the alcohol. So if you were trying to drink it, it would make for some very compromising photos. And then there was a really fun dance floor and a DJ was there and he was doing every single track from that era and throwing in a few 80s and modern tracks as well. So it was going really well. And then there was loads of pizza. So it was brilliant. I think after the first cocktail, I felt it. I was like, ooh, this has gone to my head. And I thought, that's my lot. I think I had a couple of Prosecco's and a cocktail. I knew my limit. I proceeded to spend the rest of the night on the dance floor because I was not about to make an absolute tit of myself. I was going to have a few drinks, get merry, dance, and I know me, I've got a very vibrant personality as it is. I don't need alcohol to really make me come out of myself. I'm out of myself already. So that was enough for me. And also, interestingly enough, my husband and I have this saying which we call Sunday morning regrets. And Sunday morning regrets are when people go out and they drink, or they blame it on the drink, and they do things that they really shouldn't when they're under the influence of alcohol. So that could be, whether you go out and you know, get into a fight, or you start crying to a stranger about your boyfriend and your relationship, or you fall out with your best friend, or on the dance floor, you decide to make an absolute idiot of yourself by lifting up your dress or thinking you can bust a move and exposing yourself to half of the dance floor. That's not going to happen to me. And it was not going to happen at work. And you see it all the time, because then the Sunday morning regret happens. And this doesn't have to be a Sunday, it's just theoretical. But you know, it's the next day, the morning after basically. They walk into work, they look shame because they woke up and they remembered that they spent 20 minutes talking to Dave in accounts about the fact that they've got this tattoo on their left butt cheek that they really want to get removed, and it's of Daffy Duck and it looks a bit stupid, but they can't really afford to do it and they're worried about the scarring. Big in-depth conversation about something like that, something really intimate. Or they decided to try and get off with the most quietest guy in the team opposite, and then now they can't look at each other. Shameful. I remember when I worked years ago at the Beeb, there was quite a few incidences actually. One that I will be able to talk about. The other one I just couldn't. I'll have to swear myself to secrecy. But this one was funny. We had a summer party. So every year it was BBC Worldwide. So that was like the commercial arm of the BBC. So you had your bit that was funded by the taxpayers and the licence fee. And that was all your programmes, etc. And then you had Worldwide, which were media and magazines. So magazines, or like, you know, DVDs of shows and things, anything that could be sold with a commercial element, that was all under Worldwide. So I used to work on the magazines. Anyway, we had this great summer party the days before cutbacks and the, you know, the crash and everything. Brilliant days. And it was a big barbecue outside on the grounds, and it was everybody from all departments that were there, you know, and it would start about 4:30 and go on into the night. Really good. Anyway, one year we were there, and then all of a sudden there was this massive ruck. And basically it was two guys having a full-scale fight. Remember, this is work still. It doesn't matter that you're you know, had a drink and it's a party. You're still on work premises. A proper smackdown, drag-out fight. And what we found out down the line was that basically one of the guys was in the commercial team. I think he was like a sales guy or selling advertising or an account manager as such, but looking after clients and trying to bring revenue into the business. And the other guy worked in the BBC Worldwide accounts team. Now, the BBC Worldwide accounts team are the ones that would veto whether or not you could work with a particular client, you know, depending on their credit score. It could be that the client could be absolutely huge and book loads of advertising, but their records indicate they don't pay. So because of that, a strike would go against them, and then you could do all the hard work and then go to book the piece of advertising, and then the system would block you. So basically, this had been going on for a while, apparently, between these two, in that it was this guy's client that he needed to, you know, book some advertising for, and obviously if he books stuff in, he will get some sort of compensation, you know, we'll get commission, that kind of thing. So it was affecting his commission, and I think prior to the party, he'd been going back and forth with this guy in accounts, you know, trying to get him to lift the stop ban on this account so that he could go ahead and book it and get his commission. But the other guy wasn't having it. So it must have come to a head at the summer party when the drinks were flowing, and then they both started thumping up each other, and you got trestle tables going left, right and centre, paper tablecloths flying all over the place, and people jumping out of the way because they were fighting. And the result is both of them ended up with a disciplinary. I'm not sure if they got fired, but it wasn't good at the end of the day. And I'm sure the next day they had Sunday regrets. Speaking of fighting outside, I witnessed the most incredible piece of, I'll say piece of nature. And now that's not great grammar, but that's the only way that I can describe it. So I'll lay the story out for you. This literally happened yesterday. Sorry, no, the day before yesterday. So on the Saturday, I'm sitting in one of our spare rooms here, chilling, and I kept hearing like birds going off outside. And when I say birds, I was hearing like one of them was squawking, like rah, 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 hearing that going over and over again. And then another noise was like it was like a chattering sound, and it was almost like back and forth, back and forth. And first off, you know, if you're sitting around birds and animals, it normally drowns into the background. You don't notice it, but it must have been going on for quite a while for me to think, hang on a second, what's going on? So I look out the window of the back garden, and I look, and there's a tree. Like, my neighbour has a tree. It's quite a tall tree, like a fir, and I'm seeing magpies and crows, about 5 magpies, about 5 crows, just getting into it on the tree, shouting at each other. And what I can see is almost like a nest, like a brown thing, like that they're sort of like scattering around. And it was almost like the crows were there first, and then the magpie put out like a bat signal. Well, I say bat signal, a magpie signal. It did that little chattering cry, and then you just saw magpies coming in from all over. From I don't know where they all heard it, but they all came to this tree. So they're all congregating around the tree, and the leaves are shaking. So my initial thought was, is it that the crows are trying to protect the nest and the magpies are coming in to try and get the eggs? Because I do know that magpies do eat eggs of other birds. So I'm thinking, is that what's going on? Is that, you know, are these crows like fighting for their lives to try and stop these magpies from coming in and, you know, taking their young? I even like text my brother going, oh, you wouldn't believe what I'm seeing. There's like a proper showdown going on outside on this tree. Anyway, this goes on for about 3 or 4 minutes, and it's just noise, the cacophony. And then when I look again, I see that the nest moves a bit. I'm like, hang on, that's not a nest. And I go to the other window in my son's room and look out, and it's a cat in the tree. It's a ginger cat, fluffy ginger cat, way up in the tree, like scrunched up against the corner of a branch. I'm like, so what's happening is the birds are coming for the cat. So the birds, the magpies flew away, and then the crows flew away because my neighbour, who was next door, he was like trying to coax the cat down. So he's like calling up to the cat. So that must have made the birds think, right, let's scatter, nothing more to see here. And then I think he must have given up. And I was watching the poor cat, this poor cat, literally, it was tentatively trying to get down. So it was putting a paw out, a shaky paw onto the branch, and then grabbing it back in. And then it got a little bit more confidence and put both paws out onto the branch, and then did a little slip and then grabbed it. Same way we would, like, you know, you just grab it with your arms and legs and wrap yourself around the branch because it was so scared. So it did that, and it just, you know, it was trying to make its way down, but it thought, no, it's too high and I'm nervous. So it gripped the tree. Then the beef began. The crows must have met off-site with the magpies because they came back tactically with full force. And when I say tactically, this is what happened. They flew in. First off, the other birds, so some of the magpies and the crows went behind the cat. Remember, the cat is now all fours like scrunched around the branch, and the poor cat's like buried its head in its paws because it knows the pain is coming. So they go behind the cat, and they're starting to like peck at the cat's back, like its bum, while it's, you know, scrunched up. So they're pecking at it, and, you know, trying to shift it. And then one crow flies in front of the cat on the branch and stands on the branch and proceeds to peck at the branch. Remember, this isn't a woodpecker. This is a crow pecking at the branch. So I'm looking like, this is on some Hitchcock thing. Like, basically, these birds have worked out, they've gone off site and they've strategized, right, we're going to take this cat down. We're sick and tired of this cat harassing us, killing our friends, killing our young. It's probably up in this tree because it chased one of us, but it was too bright to go up there, and now look what's happened. It's got stuck, and we're going to take it down. So this bird was pecking at the branch of the tree to try and cut the tree, and the others are pecking at the cat to try and dislodge the cat, and the cat is just holding tight, and there's nothing anyone can do. So I call the fire brigade, and the fire brigade is like, well, we've had a few calls in, thank you very much, but no, you've got to call RSPCA. I go to call the RSPCA, some long hold line with some, you know, chatting about, if you want to join our charity, if you want to send these things in, if you've seen any birds. I'm thinking, where's your emergency number for an animal that's in distress? you should be able to come out immediately and help this animal, because if we try to go up the tree, it's so thin and bendy, it will break, number one. Number two, we might scare the cat. We can't throw stones at the birds because the cat is terrified and clinging on for dear life. But these birds were like, you're in our ends now. You're in our area and we're going to finish you. And that's what they were doing. They were tactically working together. Nature is cruel. My husband walked in and I was there, you know, pointing out to him what was going on. My son was freaking out saying, somebody has to save the cat. And my husband just walked out and was like, maybe we should just shake the tree. No, that's not the best thing to do because the poor cat would tumble. I know cats are supposed to land on their feet, but this cat was in no position to do that. Anyway, a lady was knocking on doors, I could see, and she was trying to find out who, you know, the cat belonged to. And eventually a guy came to the bottom of the tree and he started to calmly speak to the cat. And the birds flew away, and then the cat got some confidence to tentatively climb down. It fell a little bit, but as it fell in the trees, but then it eventually got down onto the ground. I know that that poor cat is not going to go in any trees for a very long time, and it's going to think twice before chasing any birds, and it's probably going to look sideways at birds. Actually, it could go either way. It either will be terrified of birds for the future, or it's going to want to exact its revenge, because it's like, you know, I was in the most vulnerable position and you guys were trying to take me down. This is not going to happen. You wait till I see the next bird innocently sitting, sipping water from like a saucer, or, you know, minding its own business. I'm going to pounce and I'm going to exact my revenge, just how you lot were going to try and take me out. During my free time, I've been catching up on anime and comics. And as you know, if you've listened to the first episode, I'm a bit of a geek and I've always loved things like Japanese anime. I love reading. I love anything that's a little bit geeky and a bit cartoony and fun. My son and I are going to be going to Hyper Japan in London in July. We look forward to it every single year, and we go twice a year. We go to the summer one, and then we also go to the Christmas version of it. And it's great because you can buy all kinds of like merchandise from your favourite kind of anime shows that you watch. So, as you know, I've been watching One Piece and I'm up to date with that. And I've started Bleach. My brother's restarted watching Bleach as well. So I think we're both at the same place with that. And there's another one that I want to start watching actually, which is Black Clover, which I've heard a lot about, and Fairy Tail. But as you know, if anybody knows watching anime, and that could be anything from like watching things like Pokemon when you were a kid, there's so many episodes, there's a lot to get through. So when you're trying to watch 2 or 3 at the same time, it's madness. So I can only do 2 at a time. Some people are good at like watching 2 anime or 2, 3, 4 anime at the same time. I'm just about coping with doing One Piece and Bleach. And that's because I'm up to date with one and the other is quite slow, and also it's dubbed. If it's dubbed, I can watch it easier because in the community there's subbed and dubbed. So some people like the fact that it's just subtitles and written, you know, in Japanese or spoken in Japanese with English subtitles to read. But for me, if it's dubbed, I can get on with my day. If you're watching a subtitled film, any film, you know, you have to sit and read the subtitles. But if you're watching something that's dubbed, you can concentrate on other things while it's happening. And we all know with things like anime, a fight scene can go on for 3 episodes. They'll stretch it out. They'll put fillers in there. They'll also have it where they'll do a flashback in between before the actual fight starts. So all of that, if it's actually dubbed in English, you can get through it a lot quicker. If it's subtitled, you've got to sit and read absolutely everything. So anyway, really looking forward to it. My son is into it just as much as me. The only sad thing is he can't watch the sites that I use to watch anime because in Japan, they are obsessed with, you know, really sexualized cartoons, and they use that as the adverts all around the kind of screen when you're watching your anime. So he's an 11-year-old boy. It's a point in his life where I don't really want him to have his first kind of, you know, crushes on cartoon images of girls with cat ears and massive boobs. I'd rather his crush is on an actual human being that is attainable, so that when he gets older and, you know, he has a preference, whether it's a boy or girl or whatever, it's somebody that he can physically see and it's achievable to be out with them, not some sort of pixelated avatar with a massive chest. So we're at the end again, the end of the podcast. And one thing I'd love to say first is a big thank you to everybody who has been listening and who continues to listen. I didn't even realise, I don't check the numbers, and I went to check on my SoundCloud account before recording this particular podcast and saw that 70 people had listened to the last one. And that's great. I'm happy to have 5. I'll be honest with you. 5 people, and that's including the people I know. I'm happy to have that. So to have 70 people take the time to listen to me rambling about everyday life and dropping little inspirational tidbits at the end made me really chuffed. So thank you very much for that. So my thoughts for the end of this podcast is enjoy your time and let others have theirs. And what I mean by that is I'm referring back to the conversation I had at the start about the women that were very paranoid about being the older women in, you know, the club or the bar or the party, and almost having some sort of envy for the younger women that were there. It's their time now. That's how I see it. I see everybody has their time, and for young women, you know, where they look great and they've got, you know, they don't have lines and wrinkles and they don't, you know, have fat popping out of different places. It's their time now. Let them wear the skimpy outfits. Let them, you know, be able to drink, you know, until 4 a.m, sleep for 2 hours and come into work the next day. Let it be their time. But don't envy them, but also don't put any kind of negativity on it. Don't be like, oh, you wait till you get to this age. You think you're all nice now. Just let them enjoy. Because we enjoyed it. I did. I enjoyed my 20s. I enjoyed the fact that I could just walk into any shop, pick something off the rack, and it'll be good to go. I remember I was in the era of, you know, when it was like acid jazz and jungle, and when garage was first coming out, a lot of the outfits were really skimpy. It was all like, you know, trousers with really short belly tops. So your midriff was always exposed. It was pierced belly buttons. Didn't think nothing of it. Didn't think nothing of walking around with my midriff exposed because it was flat. It was fine. You know, but I don't envy young girls that have those bodies now. It's their time to shine, and we will shine in a different way. So that's what I want everybody to think about. You know, don't envy people. Don't, you know, wish what they had, and don't put anything negative on what they have as well. You know, an example is through my front door, I keep getting these leaflets that say things like, we've just done your neighbour's carpets, or we've just done your neighbour's roof. Come and have a chat with us. I don't care if you've done their roof or not. It's not my business. I stay in my lane. That kind of thing is not going to turn my head. I'm not going to look out and tell you who's bought a new car because I couldn't tell you. I don't know what cars my neighbours have. They could drive past me on the street and I wouldn't know what car they had. I can't tell if a neighbour's got, you know, if they've gone on holiday. I don't know how many holidays they've had. I just don't watch people like that. And I don't think anybody should, because if you don't focus on yourself and other people focus on you, what good is that? You're the only person that can change you. So focus on what you do and let people focus on them. Almost watch and admire and additionally celebrate other people that are going through a stage of life that you once went through and enjoyed. They're enjoying it now. It's a great thing to see. I love it when I see young girls and they're out on a Friday and they're all dressed up and they're getting ready to go and they just look great. I love it because I just think, oh my God, I used to be like that and it was fun. So embrace that. And with that, I want to say goodbye and see you next week.